All right, it's 5 o'clock, and it's not necessary to call the meeting to order officially since it's just a study between the commission and the financial management committee. So we are recording it. So if you guys come up to the microphone, so we make sure we get it where everybody can hear it, would probably be good. But we're open to start with the commissioners wanting to speak about the budget. Just bring yourself right on up to the microphone.
Mayor, while waiting on people, I'd like for Robert to go over those restricted funds in the back at the sort of the last page of the first section toward the end after we get through the other and
So what they consist of?
Just
Okay.
at some point. You don't have to do it now if somebody else wants to.
Okay. Yeah, please. That's probably good.
Everybody just sitting here looking. Okay. So I had.
If you can tell us the page number, it'd probably be helpful.
Yeah,
It
sorry.
should be down at the bottom, but there's holes punched in some of them. It's hard
There
to
he
see the
is.
number. So you may have to
Um,
look at the page before. That
Yeah,
maybe
this
it's not.
So my first question was on page 3 of, just starting off under expenditures and other uses. 54490 and 54900. What is the other? What is the other emergency management and other public safety? I didn't know what that was. I mean, is that?
Okay, give us just a second. I see
Okay.
where you're at. Yeah. Yeah, she's talking about line 38
40.
and
Yeah, line
and
38 and line 40.
Right.
Yeah, 54490 is fire and EMA. Yeah, 54900 is E911.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know what other was, and I mean, I knew we had fire and EMA listed in here, but there's so many other and miscellaneous that I just had questions about a lot of those, that wasn't written out.
For instance, if you look at page 77 and 8, that is the one that's 54490, and on the second page on 78, there's an explanation there for each line that shows it's EMA and fire. It's got the breakout.
Well, yeah, and I think that was the page I had a question I was going to ask, was that fire and EMA, that, so they are together. Yeah. Okay. And then on page 5, line item 2458,500. It just says other agencies. So that was my question on that, was like, what is other?
Let me get to that page.
Okay. It's page 5, line 24. 58,500.
That is on page 99, and that is building and contents insurance, vehicle and equipment insurance, workers' comp insurance, liability claims also.
Okay.
You will see the breakout on page 99 and 100. It's got the information there.
Okay. And then I had a question about, like, why some of the I know, like, when I worked at the mayor's office, our pest control was like in a line item, and some of them do have pest control in the line items, but some of them are like $100, some's $120, some's $150. County buildings is $5,000. Some don't have any. What's the deal on that?
Okay, the pest control, if it's the clerk's offices, it's broke out individually, and it's also by square footage. County buildings is for those offices, it's combined, like this building, the courthouse, for instance.
Okay,
So we didn't break it out by individual offices.
okay, okay. Yeah, I wondered why some of them was all different. Okay, and then page 17. And I guess just in general, I had a question about, I know this, line 26, it had other state grants, and I know it says they'll be amended as received, and I noticed we had lost $419,985 that's not come in yet or whatever. And I'd asked Robert before about, did y'all think it would be beneficial to hire, to where we had a full-time grant writer? Would that be something that the county would be interested in looking at, or think that, might be, would we get enough grants to do that, or?
I know a couple of years ago when we were dealing with COVID, there were a lot more grants out there.
Right.
And there's probably not as many now. So it would be something you would have to study, because if they could obtain certain grants, then it might pay for itself, but we'd need to study it to see.
Yeah.
We
And
need
I-
to really look and see what's out there.
Right. And I would like for us to sometime in the future maybe look and see what's out there. I know there's grants, federal grants and everything that we may not be getting, but the department heads don't have time to write those, or they're not knowledgeable. I'm not. I mean, I don't know. Mark's over there laughing. I know he gets a lot of grants, but
I
It's
actually
hard.
agree with that, because they are hard to do, and as far as department heads, sometimes they don't have the expertise to do that. But
Right.
also, one of the things we run into is the matching part. They can
Yeah.
write a grant and get $600,000, but if we have to pay $300,000, then that hits the budget pretty hard. So
Yeah.
that's something you got to look at when you're writing these grants.
right. Yeah, if it's something that could pay for themselves, I'd like for us to look into it. But like you said, we don't need the matching one, obviously. But I would like to explore that in the future, maybe. And then I had a question on page 31. Most of the raises was the 5% that we had in the budget, but this one was for line 3, 51720. I don't know if that's a miscalculation or what, but it was almost a $10,000 raise. It's actually 10.40%. So I don't know if
I'm
that
going
was
to defer that one to the mayor.
just the
Yeah,
$10,000 jumped out real quick at me. That
Right. There was a technical correction in his base salary that wasn't correct. So that's $4,825. And then cost of living and step raise everybody's entitled to. So I feel sure that we want to make sure everybody's pay is correct.
so we're the 4,000 and what was the
So
base was
actually, a
wrong?
correction of $4,825 would be what it will compute to over a year.
So we
Years
weren't
of
paying a
service, we weren't paying him right, correct?
He didn't land on the scale correctly when we
Oh.
originally put it on.
Okay, on Chris, the
Correct.
planning. Okay.
That's correct. That's Chris's.
Okay. So yeah, I thought maybe that was not
Correct. That would be, if that had not been a technical correction, it would have been just the 4 plus 1. Correct.
right. Okay.
Correct.
Also, I noticed there's a lot of supplements, salary supplements in here. What are those? There's
Most of those are like education supplements. Like if they have a degree, they get a supplement. If they go to classes to get certifications, then there's a supplement for certifications, and that was all considered when the step increases were put in. Yeah, rank supplements. Like the sheriff's office, they have rank supplements. If you're a sergeant, lieutenant, whatever.
Okay.
By doing it that way, if they're paid as deputy, if that's what they are, and then they become a sergeant, they get the supplement on that. If for some reason they step away from sergeant, then the supplement go away, but it doesn't. But it keeps them correct on the scale moving forward in the actual role of their primary choice. That's just an example of how it works, but that's why we went to the supplement component for actual rank, because it makes it clear and easy to understand. Sometimes people will move to a different rank, or people will decide that they don't want to be the supervisor anymore, and instead of having some backwards engineered calculation about then really what their pay should be, it's
Mhm.
just a matter of either laying in or laying out the supplement. You agree with that?
And I think if you're looking at codes, there's certifications they need to get in order to do that job. So each certification, then they can get a supplement.
Right. Yeah, I knew some of them there was, like, like you said, codes, or some of them had to have different sheriff's department certifications. But I noticed there was a lot, but I didn't know what they were in for.
Can you point to a specific department you want us to clarify,
well,
or is that
No,
okay?
there's a lot of them in
Okay,
there. Like I
yeah,
said,
they're
I mean,
scattered among
yeah,
all, because
most of
different
them.
departments have different
Right. most of them have it.
delineations of responsibility.
Yeah, they're in most of them. So, I just wasn't sure, like I said, what they were. And then page 67, which is under public safety. And down to line number 38, other contracted services. I noticed that it jumped like from 2022 to 23, $6,000 up to now at 92,000. So I wasn't sure what we were contracted. What are the other contracted services on that?
If you'll look at page 68, down on line 38, you'll see an explanation of that. There's body cameras, there's flock safety system cameras, there's investigative solutions, which is software, and there's body scanners. So it's broken out on that page.
Yeah, and I missed that. I'm sorry. I usually do look at the other page, but I start getting into the middle of it. I start getting my eyes crossed, I think. And I did notice actually on the jail there was one that went down a lot, other contracted services. Let me see if I missed that one. I did. Okay, that was a grant. So I was going to say, well, we dropped that one. You already answered that one. And you may not know this one, but on page 79, which is still under public safety, and like I said, you may not know this because it's the county coroner, medical examiner. I think I asked this before, like it went from, it's gone up 22,000. Is that because we have like more dead bodies or whatever?
That's exactly what it
ODs
is.
or a lot of ODs. And then on the drug and medical supplies, I noticed it went like year before last from 388 to 4,000. What is that for? Do you know? Okay.
I missed the line. You said which line were you talking about there?
So
Oh, other contracted services? No, that's
Yeah.
not it.
on the drugs.
Oh yeah, okay, got you.
Yeah, we budgeted 4,000. We just didn't use it. So when they audit,
They
we
put it
post
back.
the actual number, and that would happen this year too.
Okay.
That number is just an estimate right now.
Okay. And then I had this, I heard Linda say something. This is on page 87. I think it's 87. No. Do I have that stuck in there? Well, this is a question about the dead animal. That may be that's not page 87. I'm sorry. But I remembered, Linda, what is the deal with the dead animal thing? You said that is the state's no longer involved or whatever?
Right. Matt Dietz with the Ag Services spoke at Finance about it, and
I missed that. So what?
right. Just real quick. All aground, underground is the services that we would use if you had
Right.
a dead animal. You called them, they come the next day, and so forth.
I've
And
used them a lot.
because of the landfill cost and just fuel cost and everything, and we were getting a supplement from the state, and the state has cut that out. So among those three things, then our little pool of people in this south central area are projecting that if you raise your budget from what it is, which is 67-something thousand, 18%, and then we also charge the farmer. So if they come get one of my cows, I got to pay $50 for them to take it away, and so that's where we are. So
That was administered by South Central, and they helped us get that contract originally because at one time it was straight with that company and they dropped us. So South
I
Central
remember.
got together with several counties to give us a better rate. And now they're, they were wanting to get out of that, so they've had to renegotiate.
They're having to renegotiate, and we were using a company called Appertine.
I remember them too.
Yeah, several years ago, and then, and all this evolved from one case of mad cow disease in Britain or something, where the cows had to, now if you dispose of them in your company, you've got to take the backbone out, the brain, so forth. So the cost of everything just, it went from something like 20-something
It's a lot.
thousand in
I
one
remember.
year. Remember that jump
I
to
remember.
40, 50,000. Everybody had a stroke, but it was because of that, and those regulations have not been backed down by the federal government. So it still is causing that part of it to be very expensive. So, but Matt from Ag did talk about that, and it's, you know, for the rural people, it just is what it is.
Right, and since you weren't here, I think he said in 2025, Bedford had about 813 large animals that were removed. So, you know, and of course that probably fluctuates just a little bit, but obviously it probably is going up, not down.
Right. Yeah. And we've got, you know, a lot of, if you
And
got the
Anita, that's not small animals. That's just
Large
probably
animals,
from
yeah.
big calves and goats upward
Horses,
on
yeah.
it.
a lot of horses and cows. Yeah. So are we going to start doing the $50? Are they going to start doing that? Will they?
My understanding, it's comes effective July the
July
1st.
1st.
So if your cow's gonna die, she better do it.
Yeah.
You know, July the 30th.
Right.
The South Central Human Resource, the plan is the South Central Human Resource Agency will be the one that administers that. So they'll be the one that bills, that will bill for it and what have you. We just make a contribution, and then the program's administered there. And that's how we currently do it, but we were doing it with South Central Tennessee Development District. So it still should, there'll be this, there may be an updated number that they'll have to call, but they'll call the number. South Central will engage with them about whether they're going to owe or how they're going to pay their portion. And then ideally, if we can keep the budget together, our fund part of it will be there to make the contribution to the system for them to be able to carry us through a year.
That $50 doesn't flow through our county. In other words, if my cow dies tonight and I call, you leave a message, they call you back and get your address, you know,
Right.
whatever rate, you know, whatever the information they need, and the farmer directly gets that $50 bill. So
Right.
we're not involved in that part
Yeah.
of it.
We're just making the donation that we make. Yeah. That we've been making. I got you. Okay. Almost done. And I'm pretty sure I already know this, but on, we're under education on page 3, in the education book. Was tab 4, page 3, and it's the $2 million for the capital outlay. Is that for the old TCAP that we moved out of? Is that what that's for?
Which row?
Row 13. The $2 million.
Page
Page-
3, I don't see.
Page 3, tab. Well, wait a minute. I have two. Why do I have 2 page 3s? After my orange page here.
What we're doing there, that's a transfer from debt service to the capital projects fund.
Uh-huh.
And that is for instruction equipment. I think there's some computers in that one. And I'm talking about line 10.
Okay.
Line
what about
13,
line
other capital outlay, I believe that is for
Line
the
13.
TCAP building. That is
the
for
old
T-
one
Yes,
that we moved out of?
yes.
And that's for the central office is going to move into that? Is that what we're doing? Okay. So that's for renovation and whatever for the, okay. Are we renting the central office building now?
That is property of the city, and we are allowed to use it as long as it's for educational purposes.
Okay.
But we don't actually transact funds to them.
We do
don't.
not. And we have to keep it up, so they've added new windows, they've added carpet, they've added a lot of things to that building. But that's just showing that they're actually maintaining it.
Right. So we didn't actually pay for that. They did.
We
City
don't
did.
own it.
No,
Right.
no, we would have paid for the rent. That was part of the original agreement between the city and county whenever they combined the school systems, and that we would maintain. And I believe that is the only building that still the city has a ownership in. The rest of them were deeded over to the county or county built later.
Ah.
And so it's sort of like the fire stations when people volunteer to give up some of their land, as long as it has to do with fire, you can
Mhm.
continue to be there and what have you. The same as here currently, as long as it's used for some form of school purpose. It doesn't have to be the central office, but the school uses it for their purposes. Then it continues to be in the hands of the county side, but we are responsible to maintain it
Okay.
while we
It's
have it.
kind of like a lease, and we have
Right.
to do the leasehold improvements.
Right. Okay.
They will, yeah, it's theirs.
If it ceases to be education use, but they may have other educational purposes. Obviously, they always need space for other things that may not be actual instructional space, would still be education purposes.
Yeah, the board and I are discussing what's next after we move out of that building, whether or not we keep it as an auxiliary type of building where we have some other employees working out of that building. You know, there's just some ADA concerns there with that current building and it being 2 stories. So that's a decision at some point in time. The board and I will decide on what the next steps are with that.
Thank you.
Right, and I don't believe there's anything new about that structure. That's what was agreed to in the 70s or whatever it was. All right, okay. Come on up.
There is a summary sheet in your budget book.
We can go over it again if you like.
No, that's okay. I just thought we generally did that before we started this, but that's okay.
We did it the first go around.
Okay, yeah. The first thing is salaries. We can start, the county mayor's salary looks in line. In fact, I'm surprised his raise wasn't much higher, but, this was on
I agree
page
with you.
20.
It should have been more.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that happened. They overlooked you somehow. I
Well,
guess
as
'cause
you
you're
know,
leaving
the state sets
Yeah.
the minimums for the full-time elected. Now,
it
you're
must've
welcome to
been a
pay me
minimum this
more.
year,
Yeah,
because
you-
it's just $3,686.
See, that's why I have 69 days left. So there you go.
Okay, but anyhow, that was the first one. That looks in line. You were making it was the county mayor was making 140,211, and it's going to be 143,897. Good. I think that's in line. I think that raise is okay. Then we go on to 31, which is explained. The planning director got a $9,850 raise, but $4,825. You said he was
Is
behind.
correction, correct.
Lucky him. Who found that? How did that come about? Who found out? He
What
wasn't getting
what
paid right?
page are you on? They're asking what page. you're on.
31.
Page 31 of tab 1, page 31.
What's 31? I guess we're still in the main. Yeah, salaries and the different departments. And that's okay, but he ended up still getting a $5,000 raise. I think that's a little high, but that's just my own opinion. I understand he needs to be caught in line, but then if he's caught in line, then he got another $5,000 raise. He got $2,000 more than the county mayor did.
Man, I should be offended.
But anyhow, I don't understand that quite. Now it looks like all the fee offices are good. All the fee offices, they were making 110, 358, and they got $2,902 raise. Good, that's right in line. Good for
Again,
them.
the state sets those
I know
minimums
it
for
is,
them.
but that's in line. Good for them. And then we go to that was all in between. And then the finance director is on 41. I've questioned that 2 or 3 times.
Every year.
Yeah, I have. Not only that, but the number of people in his office. I think you told me last year, Robert, how many people are working in the finance office.
We had like 10, I believe. We
know,
haven't increased, very many people.
well, I
at
know
all.
you hadn't in 2 or 3 years since I asked about it, but it seemed like 1 year, 2 or 3 years ago, it increased. So I don't know. It's in there. It's a line.
Well, we had
I
a,
really wasn't gonna talk about that.
we had a grant position, and we had a lot of, ERA grants.
That's okay.
And
But
the s-
I would say our finance department has the biggest personnel in Middle Tennessee. I don't know that. I don't have any idea. But the finance committee needs to look and see. I guarantee you, I would dare say, and that's good. Robert might be worth every penny of it. But I bet we've got the highest paid financial director here in Middle Tennessee, and I bet we've got more people working in his office than any other finance department in Middle Tennessee. I don't know that, but I wish somebody checked. And if you have, that'll be fine.
Well,
Tony,
over in
yield to you in
Franklin
a minute.
County, we checked that several years ago.
Okay,
They had
good.
16 people in their office.
Which one was that?
Franklin County. I don't know what they've got
Franklin County
now.
Okay.
And I am
you-
not the highest paid, I can assure you, because
Okay,
you can
well,
check
I know
several
you're not
counties.
metropolitan areas, because that's.
No,
that-
I'm
that-
talking, I'm not talking about metropolitan
In Middle
areas.
Tennessee?
Yes, sir.
I'll say.
Mary County even.
Yeah, they're a wee bit bigger.
There you
than us.
go. If you
Okay,
go,
Tony.
go ahead on, please.
Yeah, that's okay. I just.
Commissioner
bring it-
Farrer, I did a study on his pay
Okay.
2 years ago. He is the lowest paid in Middle Tennessee.
You'd have to show me the stats on that. But maybe he is, Tony. Good. I'd like to see your findings when we get through. But that's all. I'm not. That's not a real big issue. Those aren't real big either. The next one is we'll go to the sheriff's department, and it's not anything in there. It's mainly the medical insurance. The medical insurance.
Amen. We
I
agree
can't-
with you.
Man, that's crazy. Paying $4,000 for medical insurance, and then we're still having to pay $183,000. But it's down to $1,000 next year. I don't understand that.
What
how
page?
is that
Help me
justified?
catch the page up right
I
quick.
said 67.
67. Okay. Let me get. It is a problem, and we hand wring
Well,
about it
how
every year.
competitive are our bids for insurance? You know, that's high. Its jail is not much better. It's $443,000. Well, I'm not jumping to jail yet. We're going back to sheriff.
We actually pay the individual plans for those people.
Okay.
So most of your deputies are on the individual plan. We do not pay toward the family plan. Now, in the school system, they pay the individual plans, plus they pay about 70% of the, family.
Yeah, Bedford, the county government, we don't pay anything toward family. All we
Okay.
pay is toward the individual employee. So it is expensive, and we would love for it to be cheaper, but we don't even pay family planning. That's one of the major handicaps, particularly for public safety, to hire people to work here because they're young, married, having kids, and then they're going to get $1,200 a month bill for family health insurance. They can't afford it, and it really hinders us. So we need to put some toward it. Here's the problem: we got 350 employees. If they all take the family plan, and you give just $100 toward that $1,200, which still doesn't make it affordable for them, how much is that? And so whenever,
yeah.
and so if you listen, you need to get to $600 or $700 to be our contribution to make it even affordable for that employee. You're in about $2 million range, which would be about 10 cents on the tax rate. And this is a battle before I was ever the mayor, and I came here to
it's been
conquer
that way.
that and wasn't able to get it done. We've just had to work in other areas and make improvements where we can, but it is expensive. But keep in mind, we don't pay anything toward the family. As a teacher, whenever you were a teacher, you got the benefit of family plan being covered partially by your benefits in the school system.
The next question I got, Robert, right on down there below that, it says medical and dental services. It looks like last year was 183,000 something, but it's not going to be but 1,000 maybe this next time. Well, how is
Which
that?
line are you looking at?
Under medical and dental services, it's below it
34,
somewhat. We're still on page 67.
That was at,
34.
that was a grant. and that-
Okay, so that.
If you look at the
oh,
next
good.
page,
Well, that's helpful then.
you'll see
Good.
the MHT grant was amended in.
Okay, well, good.
last year.
That is helpful. Okay, the next one, we're gonna jump to page 71. It's the jail. You know, there's no sense of talking about guards, but that guy, he gave us a song and dance whenever we built the jail that was gonna save us money. That didn't happen. That's the biggest, I don't know if it's the biggest waste ever, but that's disappointing.
It has slowed the lawsuits, though, that you were
Yeah,
getting.
well, that's good, but it's cost us $2,235,000. It looks like next year, and I thought that would be leveled off, but it has.
Oh, no,
Not-
and,
not
and your
going to
solid
either, but
waste will never be down either.
No,
It's always gonna
I
be going
understand
up.
that,
And I
'cause-
think the jail is actually full or right at it. Sheriff, what's
yeah.
your daily versus what
Yeah.
our capacity is?
Our capacity is about 405, I think. We're probably running, and you know, it changes from day to day, but I'd say close to 350.
Yeah, so 405 is what our capacity is, and we're about 350 in there.
And we
I
started
just
at
talked to Ronnie
167.
today, and I just talked to Ronnie today, and I think it was like 360, but it drops to 330 sometimes.
Yeah,
So
so,
a good
so
average
yeah,
is
so
about
if you
350.
stay on the commission very much longer, you'll get a chance to build another jail.
It won't be that long. Okay, we will look at, on the sheriff's, the medical insurance is, on that is $604,000. And then we still paying out, well, I meant to go to jail, I'm sorry, we already been over the sheriff's. The jail was 443,000, and the medical, which is okay, I mean, it's just up a little bit, but you go to down below, the medical and dental services there is 950,000. That's what you've already
That
explained,
is,
isn't it?
no, that is for inmate medical, and actually, we're getting ready to bid that again because we're trying to get better rates.
Good.
But, every
That's
time
expensive.
they
That's
take
$1
one,
million.
they take them to the emergency room, and then we have to pay, so.
Yeah, if you
that's
don't take them
correct.
to the hospital when they say they're sick and then they die in the cell, you're more than $1 million.
Well, that's a
So,
big expense.
yeah,
In-
we
in
agree.
this-
Again, we're trying every way we can,
Yeah,
and we're
well,
using.
It just needs to be looked at and discussed. and
amen.
Debated so we can get it lower.
One
It needs
addition to
be.
that, we got a bill this year for $200,000, and it was for prior years that we didn't even know
No
about.
doubt.
And it was because the hospital didn't bill them, and then it was like 2 years behind. So that's
It's like
part
a
of this.
statute of limitation ought to caught that. But
Well, we tried, believe
It
me,
didn't work.
I fought it.
Oh, man. Okay,
The
Now, we do get a little bit of that back.
The state will reimburse for a state prisoner, but not just a local prisoner.
okay, last thing's on line 85, and I'm through. EMS is overtime pay. It looks like it's, this year it was 433,030, and next year's projected 865,803. Man, that's nearly doubled for overtime pay. Well, my question is, could we just hire maybe some more personnel? I mean, that looked like that'd be cheaper than paying overtime, a lot cheaper. I mean, to pay $400,000 overtime? Now, that seems a little high to me. And it looks like to me you might get personnel if you get it and not pay that overtime. I don't know. That just needs to be looked at.
Right, yeah.
That overtime.
The staffing structure evolved in how it's done, so
Yes,
that's,
sir.
yeah,
I think
oh,
the
yeah.
finance committee needs to look at that, maybe this year.
Know what to
I
do.
mean, that's a lot of money, 865,000.
A whole lot of money. Public safety is not cheap.
No, I understand that, but if you just look at it, that's all. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. And they do collect at least for some of the services they provide, which helps offset. So up next, if you just come to the microphone.
While we're talking about the medical insurance, what was that increase anticipated to be in January this year?
It was 10.5%, I believe, on the county side. Yeah, 10.5%. What happened is that the 10.5 is an average of all plans, and we found out the low plan is actually higher. So I think it's hitting like 18%, isn't it?
Okay, it wasn't calculating for me because I thought I'd heard you say 8% a couple of meetings back. That was an anticipated increase.
No, we
Now
use
it's
10, we
11.
use 10.5 in our budget, so,
So we're using 10 and a half.
yeah.
Okay.
But it actually came in, yeah, that's only half a year. So.
It's only half a year, so that's like 5 something. It's not the full 10.5.
Right.
Because the other half of the year was budgeted before.
Okay. And the reason we can't get the same rates as the school system gets is because.
Well, we're on the county plan, and they are on the teacher plan. So the state teacher plan covers any education employees, including their classified people.
Right.
Whereas our people can't get on that. They've got to get on the county plan. It's both by Blue Cross. It's the same insurance, but they have different rate structures.
But we're on the state plan, but we're on the state, not
Right,
the
that's what I
teacher
was
side.
thinking.
Yeah.
And so the county employees have the opportunity to pick whichever plan they want, because some are more expensive than others and so every year they go through, I'm assuming HR does, what those benefits are,
That's
as far
correct.
as the cost and whatever, so an employee can pick.
That's
Right,
correct.
but the amount that we contribute is the flat amount. If they choose the more expensive plan, they pay the difference.
They're paying the difference. Okay, I
correct.
just wondered how that was working
Yeah,
on county
we only
side.
contribute to the PPO. Is that? Yeah,
Same thing as
employee
the
only.
school system basically does, is on the limited
Yeah,
plan.
schools, they do the same thing. They can choose a higher plan if they wish.
Okay, I was
Yeah,
wondering.
and the interesting thing on the school side is you're doing percents. And so when you say you're gonna do 80% of the teachers' cost, it don't matter what the cost is, you eat that internally in your budget, where we're contributing a specific dollar amount per, and then they choose which plan they want.
Yeah, that's
So
what
ours
I-
is a little more manageable than yours, but again, given the dynamic of how education works, that's, and the same thing for the family plan, correct? It's a percent amount that you're paying, so you don't know year to year really how much to budget, because the percent is not based on a fixed dollar amount like we do. So, all right. These are good questions. All right. Up next.
I might mention too, they used to break out the state portion on teachers, like they would pay 45% of certified employees their insurance, and now that's built into the TISA formula, and you don't actually see that breakout anymore. Well, they do on that sheet, on that detail sheet, but on the summary sheet, they do not.
It's rolled into they're still contributing, but it's just packaged in with the. 5:37. All right. Does
Don't forget
anybody?
my restricted stuff.
Somebody said there's a debate later. I don't even know what that means, but is any? I guess so. Anybody else got a particular question? Now, again, remember special call meeting, June the 30th, 7 o'clock for the commission, where you'll be voting on budgets and tax rates. I'm sorry, whose question? Okay, and then 6:30 is the Financial Management Committee has to have a special call meeting, but it's just housekeeping to clean up amendments for the current budget year. Has nothing to do with next budget year projection. Commissioner Yaki.
Robert, I don't care which one of the two pages, 105 or 107, but just all these restricted and committed and assigned,
Let me just give you a
Funds.
rundown of what's in those amounts
and,
without,
yeah, and then, we've got some 106, 105, 106, 107. And then the complication of the hospital money and how that works into some of these restricted funds.
okay, the page 105 is actually the beginning of the year balances. When you turn over to page 107, it's the end of the year balances, how we should end up. Now, in the restricted, we've broken it down by government, finance, administration of justice. Finance includes a lot of things. It's like the trustee's office. It's not just us. Okay, and in those, we have like drug and alcohol treatment fines that we get, sexual offender fines. We have reserve court fines. We have courthouse reno, litigation tax, data processing. A lot of the clerks collect these fees, and the courts collect these fees, and it's restricted money and has to be set aside for certain purposes. For instance, if the circuit court has they have an automation fee, they can use it to upgrade their computers. So it's all, that's why it's restricted. It can only be used for a certain purpose. And there's quite a few of those different ones that we have in there. Did that help with that? Now, as far as the hospital money, we have set aside money. At one time, we were using the interest to pay for fire trucks on the loan, the bond they had. Well, when the economy dropped in 2007, we weren't making enough interest to pay the payments, so it's coming out of the principal. That's why your principal dropped. So we're still maintaining some of that, but we have lost principal in the past. Now, the nursing home went away because of lawsuits. We had money there, and it had to pay for the lawsuits that we had at the time a couple of years ago. Did that get it?
And then the committed, that just means that's earmarked for those specifics.
That is correct.
And
What was that, committed for agriculture? What was that one? Yeah, that's where the Ag Center collects money to operate the building, so it's committed to that purpose. So we use it to, make repairs or buy things they need at the Ag Center.
I realize in '07, through those years, we took money out of the principal amount that was there. It appeared that it was going back up in 23, 24, 24, 25, dropped quite a bit in 25, 26. What would have created it to drop again?
I'm gonna have to defer to you, Lori. I don't remember on that one. We
And would
may
it
have to
be in
look,
an
we may have to look that
interest-bearing-
up.
Would it have been in an interest-bearing account, and our interest rates were really up
Yes, it was.
last year? I know they're dropping some this year, but they were really up, so shouldn't that have maintained?
Every dollar of the county is in the same account. It's not segregated out. We don't apply interest to these individual accounts. There would have been something that was voted on to pull that out for a reason.
We'll have to get back to you on what it was, but as far as interest, all interest has to go to debt service,
Okay,
according to the state, so.
okay, that's fine then. I was just curious then what would have made that drop. So I would like to know where that went to, if you can find it.
Okay, we can let you know.
We better find it. All right. Or audit finding would be coming. Commissioner Mark Thomas, are you all right. I guess he doesn't want to come up. He just wants to talk to her. That's okay. Am I missing anybody? Happy to hang on, but I'm happy to adjourn this thing if you're ready to go. Everybody okay? Ready to be done for today? Okay, Diane, you got anything else after he said something to you? Before we're about to adjourn? Okay, all right, so we're ready to adjourn. Thank you, guys.
Diane, we found out that's the legal fees for the lawsuit with the city. That's why it dropped.